Hi everyone, this is Paris Debono of the Fortune Teller Shop in Sydney. And today I'm going to show you how to do a Grand Tableau. Now, with the Grand Tableau, it always works best if you have a topic or a question or a context for the reading. Okay, so it's really good if you want to know about a certain thing. So for example, you might want to know about your love life or your career. Okay, so then you can start putting out the cards with that in mind. When you do general readings, it just ends up being very general and not very helpful, I find. So what we're going to do is we're going to think of a famous couple. We're going to do, let's try Ivanka and Jared, okay, because they seem to be the famous couple of the moment. Ivanka Trump and Jared. So what I'm doing is I'm shuffling the cards, and when I'm ready, which I'm ready now, you pull out the cards in the formation, okay, I'm going to do the eight cards in a row and 4 rows of 8, and then I'm going to do the 4 at the bottom, okay. So how I read the Grand Tableau is, because we're doing Ivanka and Jared, we want to look at Ivanka the woman and Jared is the man, okay, and we're going to see how they feel about each other. We're going to look at their love life. There's the heart there. We're also going to look at their relationship towards each other. So here we go. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is the yellow new wave deck by me. So you can buy this one from me if you like it. It's very nice because it's very bold and very modern looking. And I was kind of inspired by the 80s and the 60s, 1960s and 1980s as well. So I kind of merged those two eras together. Okay, so what we've done is we're laying out all the cards until we get the whole lot done. And what we do is we start looking at, obviously, where Jared and where Ivanka are in the reading. Okay, so Ivanka's over here, the woman, and Jared is way over there. Now, if I was reading the cards for a client, I would already notice instantly that the man and woman are way far. Way far. Okay, so the man's here, the woman's way over there. So that tells me already that these two people are having distance. They could be physically distant. Perhaps they're traveling away from each other. It could also be that they're just not close or together. Now the next thing I want to do is look at the direction. Jared's looking this way. Ivanka is looking this way. Now when I read, I do read with direction. So for example, the future of her is that way. The future of him is that way. Okay, not all Lenormand readers read it like that, but to me this is his future, this is his past, this is her future and her past. Now the next thing I want to do is look at what position they're in. So she's in position 17, which is the stork. So the stork means new beginnings, it means traveling, movement, freedom. And she's looking outside of the Grand Tableau, which means she's staring into space, she's staring into nowhere. She does not know where she's going, by the looks of this. She's in the house of the stork too, so that could mean that she's busy traveling. Okay, we've already established that she's quite far from Jared. Now Jared is in position, what's he in? 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31. He's in position 31. 31 is the sun. So the sun card can mean success, opportunity. I see it a bit of an independent, the sun, okay? And he's looking at the sky, which is not good. This one means hard work, detached, cut off. Above his head, we start to look at what's around them. Above his head, he's got the coffin. That's also not a good card. the scythe happens to be in the position of the moon, which is reputation. So his reputation's being cut off. We've got here the birds. Birds is about talking and media and chitter chatter. Behind him we have the snake, which is enemies, difficult situations, could be a woman. And we have the whip, which is also not very good. Shows hard work and punishment. So he's got a real surrounding bunch of cards that are quite difficult. The birds card can be talking and communication. If it's surrounded by negatives, which it is, it could represent nasty behavior, nervous behavior, could be bad media, okay? And the next card that's kind of near him is the moon. The moon happens to be the card of reputation, and it's also in a difficult position, which is in the house of the cross. So his reputation's getting a battering by two cards. He's got the scythe in the house of the moon, and he's got the moon in the house of the cross. So if I was reading for this couple, already I'd be kind of concerned that this couple is not doing well, and I would say that he's particularly not doing well, and he's particularly having difficulties. Okay, now let's go over to her card again. She's way over here. Now underneath her, she's got a road. The road to me could mean decision making is needed, and she may be on the move. She's in the house of the stork. She's got the road under her. She's traveling. She's on the move. She's busy. The road card happens to land in position 25, which is the ring, house of the ring. This would indicate to me a separation again, probably through distance with her husband. Now behind her she has the sun, which shows that she's successful or has had success, and she's got money. Right? Above her it shows friendships and people that are loyal to her. And beside that we have the flowers, which is about beauty and creativity and pretty things. So that sounds about right. She loves pretty things. She has probably friends who are loyal to her. She has success, she has money, and she has travel. Now, what I would do next, after I've explained that to the client, I would then look for the heart. Now, the heart happens to land in 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Position 12. 12 is the birds. The birds can be good for pairing up, but it can also be stressful and flighty. So I would tell the client that as well. Then I would look around the cards. The heart is on top of the fox, not good. Tricks and deception and self-serving. Marriage, that's not a good combo. There's opportunity, there's also children, there's also talking. Writer can be talking, communication, and there's also stress, worry. The anchor represents being stable, and it could also mean being stubborn, but it can also mean being strong in yourself. And then we have the garden, which is about the public. So if we kind of recap, her heart is on sort of dodgy ground. There is marriage. There's also lots of public relations, being in the public. She's firm and solid in her public, perhaps the way she's perceived, but there's also stress. There's lots of talking again and messages and stuff about children. The key is her children and her marriage. Okay, we look on this side of the marriage or the relationship, we can see again enemies. There's lots of dreams and hopes. So we can start to pull apart the Grand Tableau. Okay. So this is how you would read the Grand Tableau. So far what I've done is I've looked at the positions, the facing, where the main players are facing, what houses they're in, what's surrounding them. Okay. Then because their question was about the relationship, I would look at the heart and then deduct from that, you know, what I'm feeling. Okay. So I would let the client know all of these different facts and facets. Now, if, for example, she said to me, if she was my client, she said, well, how do you see my work and career, Paris? I would say to her, do you work for a company or a big a firm or a big company? And she would say yes. So I would use that as, I would use the tower as that card. So I would look at the Tower card as a company she works for, and that is the government. I'd say there's a kind of a dominating bossy character above it. Okay, so you may have a bossy boss or a powerful boss. Underneath it there's deception, and there's trickery and jealousy and rivalry and difficulty with who you trust. It's a bit like a snake pit. Seems like you're committed to your work, and it seems like there's opportunities with your work. The child now becomes new beginnings. So I could say to her, do you work with children? She'll say no. I could say then, well, you've got new beginnings, or you've got to keep things young and fresh. You've got a dominating character here. I see these two together as being intimidated. If you put a child near a bear, the child will be intimidated. I also see family being a strong influence on her career, which it is. I would also say to her, there seems to be a lot of travel and new opportunities. Travel's next to travel too. Sometimes I would go a little bit around it, depending. I could say there's difficulty around the family as well. Travels are difficult, not pleasant at times. Lots of gossip. Got to be careful of gossip and traveling. Maybe when you're traveling, be careful of gossiping or saying stuff. There seems to be a lot of endings around her as well. So there's new beginnings, but there's also lots of endings in her career. Then I would say to her, do you have a question about your career? And she might say, how can I support my boss, who happens to also be my father? Okay, well, I would take that as your boss. I would say strong family energy is important for him, and also being supported. And with your boss, I would try to keep things fresh and small and young and childlike. Perhaps not to be too pushy, because the child will be more gentle. The key is to be professional, to keep things moving and not to be stale. Also to be aware that there's a bit of a snake pit around with your work. So I would say to her that she may be feeling intimidated by her boss too, because like I say, the child bear combination to me means one's powerful and one's not. I'd say to her, perhaps the best way to deal with him is by being gentle or charming. Okay, and then we would talk back and forward. But that would give you this a sense of how to read the Grand Tableau. Okay, so this is Paris Debono of the Fortune Teller Shop in Sydney.